Welcome to a journey into the unknown, where belief meets the bizarre. Around the world, hidden from mainstream religion, exist sects that challenge the boundaries of faith and reason. Today, we explore 10 of the strangest religious sects ever to have emerged, each with its own mysterious rituals and captivating stories. Some of these groups have amassed large followings, while others remain obscure, known only to a few. However, what unites them is their departure from conventional beliefs and their often outlandish practices that intrigue both outsiders and adherents alike. From worshiping UFOs to pursuing immortality through unusual means, these sects spotlight the diverse ways in which human spirituality manifests. Whether through charismatic leaders, enigmatic texts, or secretive ceremonies, these religious movements offer a fascinating glimpse into the myriad expressions of faith. So, brace yourself for a deep dive into the peculiar, the unorthodox, and the paranormally spiritual as we uncover the stories behind these 10 strange sects. In the sacred lands of India, the Aghori sect stands out as one of the most extreme and misunderstood Hindu sects. Known for their macabre practices, the Aghori live on the fringes of society, pushing the boundaries of conventional spirituality. Meditating among the dead in cremation grounds, they believe that communion with death can lead to the ultimate liberation from the cycle of life and rebirth. They shun societal norms, living with minimal possessions and rejecting material wealth. Clad in ash from cremation fires, and often using human skulls as bowls, the Aghori aim to conquer fear and embrace the sublime truths that lie beyond it. For them, the world of the living and the world of the dead are not separate, but are integral parts of a continuous cycle. Their rituals are both fascinating and deeply symbolic. The act of meditating with corpses isn't just an effort to shock or provoke. It's a path to reject mundane fears and desires. The Aghori teach that all creation is sacred and that purity can often be found in what society deems as impure. They accept and consume everything that comes their way, from rotting flesh to intoxicating substances, to challenge the illusion of duality. While their practices can be startling, they are rooted in ancient philosophies that predates modern Hinduism. Their ways draw from the Tantric tradition, which sees the divine in all things, even those that seem vile. Understanding the Aghori requires a shift in perspective, a willingness to see beyond appearance and into a deeper spiritual reality. Ultimately, the Aghori sect embodies a paradox. Their outwardly terrifying practices serve an inwardly profound quest for transcendence. By embracing what most fear, they seek to dissolve the ego and experience the unity of existence. As misunderstood as they are extreme, the Aghori stand as a testament to the diversity and depth of pathways to spiritual awakening. Imagine a belief system where humanity's creators are extraterrestrial beings. That's the foundation of realism, a sect founded in France by Claude Vorilhon, or Rael. Followers believe that the Elohim, alien-seeded life on Earth, and that we're on the verge of reuniting with our cosmic ancestors through scientific and spiritual enlightenment. According to Raelism, around 25,000 years ago, highly advanced extraterrestrials from a distant planet, known as the Elohim, arrived on Earth and started a series of genetic experiments. They developed human beings and other life forms, fashioning them in their own image. These beings were mistaken as gods by the early humans, leading to their reverence across various ancient cultures. Rael, formerly a race car driver and journalist, claims to have encountered one of these extraterrestrials in 1973. During this encounter, the alien explained humanity's true origins and their destiny in vivid detail. This profound experience led Rael to establish the International Raelian Movement, aimed at preparing humanity for the return of the Elohim. Central to Raelism is the belief in eternal progress through both scientific and spiritual advancement. Followers place high value on the development of technology, medical advancements, and overall human improvement, believing that these are the keys to achieving divinity. They advocate for world peace, human rights, and universal love, underscoring the importance of living harmoniously as one human family. One of their notable objectives is to build an embassy to welcome the Elohim upon their return. Raelians view the discovery of advanced extraterrestrial life as imminent, believing that humanity is on the cusp of a significant transformation. By embracing both science and spirituality, they strive to elevate their consciousness and approach closer to the Elohim's level of enlightenment. As unconventional as it may sound, Raelism continues to attract followers worldwide, each drawn by the promise of reconnecting with their cosmic origins and embarking on a journey toward boundless knowledge and universal harmony. In Japan's history of spiritual and philosophical traditions, a dark chapter emerged in the 1980s that shocked the world. Aum Shinrikyo, a sect that claimed to blend elements of Buddhism, Hinduism, and Christianity, birthed from the mind of Shoko Asahara, took a sinister turn that no one foresaw. The cult's apocalyptic beliefs were not just a matter of obscure theologies, but a clear and present danger to society. The man behind this disastrous blend was Shoko Asahara, born Chizuo Matsumoto, who presented himself as a savior figure with powers that transcended the physical realm. Asahara proclaimed that only through him could one achieve enlightenment and survive the impending apocalypse he so vividly described. The cult attracted thousands of followers, many of whom were highly educated and held prestigious positions. This gave the sect not only a significant financial backing, but also intellectual and technical prowess that would later contribute to their deadly activities. The world first became aware of the true nature of Aum Shinrikyo on a grim day in March 1995. Members of the cult carried out a coordinated sarin gas attack on Tokyo's subway system during rush hour, a time chosen to maximize casualties. The attack killed 13 people, injured over 1,000, and left the city in a state of panic. The use of sarin, a deadly nerve agent, highlighted the lengths to which the cult would go to achieve their vision of world destruction. The incident revealed a horrifying convergence of religious fanaticism and modern technology. The cult wasn't just a group of strange, irrational people disconnected from reality. They were highly organized, scientifically informed, and deadly serious about their apocalyptic mission. As authorities investigated, it became evident that this was not an isolated act. The cult had stockpiled chemical weapons and had conducted numerous other attacks and assassinations aimed at silencing critics and furthering their agenda. Asahara and many of his key followers were eventually arrested and charged with a range of crimes, from murder to the breach of the Chemical Weapons Convention. In a world where the lines between reality and satire blur, the Church of the Subgenius stands apart. Founded in the mid-20th century in the United States, this parody religion takes a humorous look at mainstream religious doctrines, offering a mix of irony, satire, and surrealism that has attracted an eclectic following. At its heart is the enigmatic figure J.R. Bob Dobbs, a mysterious icon that represents the subgenius ideals of slack, a principle that encourages followers to seek out and embrace effortless ease. The Church proposes that the modern world is designed to rob humans of their slack, converting them into pinks or conformists, and only by embracing the teachings of Bob can true liberation be achieved. One of the central tenets of the Church is the belief in X-Day, a prophesied event when all true believers will be saved by benevolent alien forces. This promise of salvation through extraterrestrial intervention is a tongue-in-cheek jab at more traditional eschatological beliefs. Followers of the Church, referred to as subgenii, engage in a variety of satirical rituals and ceremonies that mock conventional religious practices while advocating for personal freedom and individuality. The Church's literature and gatherings are laced with absurdity and humor, ensuring that it remains a lighthearted and irreverent critique of organized religion. The Church of the Subgenius invites its adherents to question authority, reject societal norms, and find their own path to enlightenment in the most unconventional ways. By turning religious dogma on its head and injecting it with wit and satire, the Church creates a space where believers can explore the boundaries of faith, humor, and countercultural expression. Whether seen as a social critique or a playful movement, the Church of the Subgenius remains a testament to the enduring human desire for both spiritual meaning and a good laugh. In 1997, the world was shocked by the mass suicide of 39 members of the Heaven's Gate cult. They believed that by ending their lives, they would transcend their human forms and join a spaceship following the Hale-Bopp comet. This event remains one of the most tragic cult stories in modern history. Heaven's Gate was founded by Marshall Applewhite and Bonnie Nettles, who combined elements of Christian eschatology with beliefs in extraterrestrial salvation. Applewhite, who was often referred to by his followers as Do, and Nettles, nicknamed T, claimed to be the extraterrestrial representatives of a higher spiritual order. They taught that the Earth was on the verge of being recycled, and the only way to survive was to leave it immediately. Over time, the teachings of Heaven's Gate became more extreme. Applewhite and Nettles convinced their followers that they needed to shed all human attachments, including their families and earthly possessions. Members dressed in identical black clothing, wore Nike sneakers, and had little cash on them. They were instructed to avoid indulging in any sensual pleasures and followed a strict regimen of meditation and study. The arrival of the Hale-Bopp comet in the spring of 1997 was seen as the final sign. Applewhite claimed that a spaceship was trailing the comet, ready to take their souls to a higher plane of existence. In preparation, they recorded farewell messages, explaining their belief that they were leaving planet Earth and would soon be aboard the spaceship. The group rented a mansion in Rancho Santa Fe, California, where they meticulously planned their exit. In late March, they ingested a lethal cocktail of phenobarbital and vodka, securing plastic bags over their heads to ensure asphyxiation. When authorities discovered the bodies, they were all lying peacefully, covered with purple shrouds. The Heaven's Gate tragedy touched on themes of loneliness, alienation, and the human desire for belonging and understanding in an incomprehensible world. The legacy of this grim event provokes continuous debate over the psychological manipulation and the vulnerability of individuals seeking purpose in their lives. In South Korea, the religious sect known as Shincheonji, or Church of Jesus, Temple of the Tabernacle of the Testimony, has garnered significant attention. The followers of this group firmly believe that their leader, Lee Man-hee, is the second coming of Christ, a conviction that lends the organization an aura of divine authority and infallibility in the eyes of its adherents. Founded in 1984 by Lee Man-hee himself, Shincheonji presents itself as the true path to salvation, attracting tens of thousands of followers over the decades. The organization claims to offer unique insights into the Bible, interpreting it in ways that mainstream Christian denominations reportedly do not. This exclusivity has cemented its appeal, but has also aroused suspicion and controversy. Shincheonji tries to maintain a facade of being simply another Christian denomination, but critics argue that its practices are cult-like. Members are often required to cut ties with non-believing family and friends and to devote extensive time and resources to recruit new followers. Reports suggest an intense indoctrination process that gradually entraps individuals, making it difficult for them to leave. The true extent of Xinjiang's influence became internationally recognized during the COVID-19 pandemic. Early in 2020, the city of Daegu became a sudden hotspot for the virus, and a significant portion of South Korea's cases were traced back to Xinjiang congregations. The sect's secretive nature and reluctance to cooperate with public health officials exacerbated the outbreak. Members were reportedly advised to conceal their affiliation with Xinjiang, hindering contact tracing efforts and leading to widespread public outrage. Xinjiang's internal culture, characterized by its tight-knit community and hierarchical control, played a critical role in how the virus spread among its members. Worship services often involved close physical contact, making social distancing nearly impossible. As a result, Xinjiang faced numerous allegations of negligence and intentional mismanagement during the pandemic. This crisis thrust the organization into the international spotlight, revealing the potentially harmful consequences of its secretive and insular practices. In a modest neighborhood in Liberty City, Miami, a movement emerged that would send shockwaves across the nation. The Nation of Yahweh, founded by the enigmatic leader Yahweh ben Yahweh, proclaimed a radical interpretation of religious texts. According to him, African Americans were the true descendants of the biblical Hebrews, a message that resonated deeply with a community seeking identity and recognition. Garnering attention in the 1980s and 90s, the Nation of Yahweh soon became a lightning rod for controversy. At the heart of the faith lay an ideology that rejected traditional Christian teachings and embraced a more militant and nationalistic approach. Followers donned white robes and turbans, and the group's temples became spaces of elaborate rituals and sermons that often condemned the perceived injustices done to African Americans. However, it wasn't just the theology that drew attention. It was the allegations of violent acts that tarnished the group's image. The group was accused of orchestrating various crimes, including murder, to intimidate their adversaries and expand their influence. The situation escalated when Yahweh ben Yahweh himself was arrested, leading to a high-profile trial that gripped the nation. He was eventually convicted on charges of conspiracy to commit murder, shaking the core of his movement. Despite its founder's imprisonment, the Nation of Yahweh continued to hold a presence, though much diminished from its peak. Followers remained loyal, clinging to their leaders' teachings and maintaining that they were misunderstood by the broader society. The Nation of Yahweh's story is a complex tapestry of faith, identity, power, and controversy. It highlights the potent combination of religious fervor and social strife, a blend that can lead to both profound community solidarity and perilous divisions. Their journey serves as a stark example of how movements based on radical ideologies can both uplift and destroy, depending on the paths they choose and the actions they take. In the shadowy corners of belief systems where New Age spirituality intertwined with medieval mysticism, the Order of the Solar Temple emerged. Formed in the late 20th century by Joseph D. Mambro and Luke Jurett, this secretive sect promised spiritual enlightenment and a path to transcendence. D. Mambro, an experienced occultist, crafted a narrative steeped in legends of the Knights Templar and esoteric philosophies. Jurett, a homeopathic healer, provided the charismatic leadership to attract followers deeply yearning for spiritual meaning. Together, they wove a tapestry of teachings that spoke of a grand journey to a higher existence, not on Earth, but on a planet orbiting the star Sirius. As the group expanded, it gained a following across Switzerland, Canada, and France. The teachings grew more elaborate and the rituals more secretive, creating an insular world where questioning was discouraged and absolute faith was demanded. Members surrendered their wealth and personal freedoms, believing in the promise of spiritual rebirth and the guidance of their enigmatic leaders. But beneath the surface, the order harbored darker intentions. By the early 1990s, cracks began to show within the sect. Financial mismanagement and internal power struggles created disillusionment among some members, leading to defections and rumors of improprieties. Mambro, feeling threatened, began preaching apocalyptic visions and the need for a final, transformative act. In October 1994, the prophecy took a horrifying turn. In Switzerland, police discovered the charred remains of 48 people, dressed in ceremonial robes, who had died in what appeared to be a mass suicide and murder. Similar scenes played out in Canada and France, with more followers perishing under the same grim circumstances. Investigations revealed that many of the victims had been drugged or restrained, casting doubt on the voluntary nature of their deaths. The Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster, also known as Pastafarianism, emerged as a humorous yet poignant reaction to the teaching of intelligent design in schools. Conceived by Bobby Henderson in 2005, this parody religion uses laughter and satire to question the very nature of religious belief and the conflict between science and faith. At the heart of Pastafarianism is the deity known as the Flying Spaghetti Monster, FSM, an entity depicted as a giant, floating mass of spaghetti and meatballs with noodly appendages. The followers, who call themselves Pastafarians, embrace an extravagant sense of humor. Their ceremonies often involve playful elements such as pirate attire, colanders worn as religious headgear, and references to a heaven with a beer volcano and a factory for strippers. The lighthearted rituals serve as a critique of dogma and are meant to highlight the importance of critical thinking and separation of church and state. By embracing the absurdity, Pastafarians aim to provoke thought about religious and philosophical claims through a medium that is as entertaining as it is reflective. These sects remind us of the incredible diversity of human belief systems, where faith often meets the strange and the surreal. Whether serious or satirical, each sect reflects humanity's eternal quest for meaning in an often mysterious and confusing world.